The thing that I was always taught from the very beginning from all my mentors is that skill can be taught, a good attitude can't.
Presented by Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. You're listening to Lights, Camera, Learn. Welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Learn. I've got with me today Rhian Advincula. She's an apprentice editor with Warner Brothers, and we're welcoming you here today, and good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so I want to get started and just have you explain to us kind of what do you do as an apprentice editor at Warner Brothers?
Yeah, so I guess to make it a little simpler, I kind of say Warner Brothers just to keep things a little more like even throughout the throughout the shows. But there's kind of studio side and there's show side. So I'm over here on the show side. So I'm currently working on the upcoming Green Lantern TV show.
Okay.
So as an apprentice editor, I'm basically training under the assistant editors. So, kind of the way that editorial works in scripted television and also film, but specifically with scripted television, is there's always going to be editors and then there are assistant editors, and the two of them are a team. So, to become an editor, you have to start off as an assistant editor. So, as an apprentice editor, I'm training under the assistant editors to hopefully one day become an assistant editor. So, the apprentice editorship is a position that was created by the union. MPEG, which is the Motion Picture Editors Guild, created it to allow for young people basically to get into the industry because it is a very difficult industry. So this is a really wonderful thing that they've honestly done to incentivize productions to put money into using some of their payroll money to give younger people a shot. So it's an easy way, not an easy way, so that's not the right term, but
Yeah.
it's an accessible way for people to work on union jobs um, right off the bat, because that's kind of the key that you want is to get union certified so that
Sure.
you have the opportunity to work on union jobs. And most scripted films, televisions are going to be union jobs.
Yeah. So how did you prepare to get, and what was the background that you had to get you into the position you're at now?
My community was really, really helpful. I think this is like not a secret, but networking is everything. Networking is going to get you where you need to go. The thing that I was always taught from the very beginning from all my mentors is that skill can be taught, a good attitude can't. So, as long as you have a good attitude, as long as you are always willing to learn, you stay humble, people will give you a shot. And I kind of took that everywhere I went. I know we'll talk about it a little later, but I did a
Yeah.
major in film. So I didn't really have much experience other than what I learned in Elk Grove for high school, and then the little things that I could pick up, like joining random film crews in college. But I was in a film major, so I really put an emphasis on like just trying to show people that I really wanted it and I was really hungry to get into the industry. And I was able to find a community of people who were willing to give a shot. A lot of it is honestly really, really wonderful people who understood that as a woman of color and as a young woman of color, I was up against a lot to
Yeah.
try to get into
Yeah.
industry. There are a lot of people, honestly, specifically Filipino men, who recognize that and were like, well, if we are in the industry, then it's kind of our duty to help you get into because it was hard for us and we don't want it to be as hard for you. So I was able to get a lot of people to champion me, and
Yeah.
I owe them everything. The biggest one that got me here is the Handy Foundation. They're a nonprofit organization
Okay.
here in Los Angeles, and they train students to become assistant editors. And they really taught me everything I needed to know, organizing media, exporting, importing, ingesting, turnover. So they gave me the skills that I needed to be able to walk into a job and confidently say that whatever you throw at me, I can do it. Um, So if anyone who's over 18, when you're done with high school, if you're interested in joining the film industry, I highly recommend checking out Handy Foundation
Okay.
because
Yeah.
they champion you so much, and they specifically offer classes. And the classes is what I actually wanted. I wanted the classes to make me feel more confident. And as a byproduct of it, they were able to get me a ton of job interviews. They got me my first job as an assistant editor. So
Oh,
I've
that's
been
great.
working as an assistant editor in non-scripted reality television for the past 2 years, which got me my union hours to be able to join the union. And then they got me the job interview for the Green Lantern show. So I think in preparation for all of this, it really is finding a good group to be your network.
Yeah.
And it is you get what you give. So, don't everyone here kind of knows that we're networking because we want jobs. Everyone, we're not going to be dumb about it. We know it. So the least you can do is, be pleasant about it. Like we know what we're all here
Right.
to do. We're here to network and get jobs. Um, but also be a friend, it
Yeah.
it really helps when you do that, and you can honestly make some really good connections that way. So I owe everything, and I think everyone else would probably say the same thing, to my network and to the people who continue to champion me in every way that they can.
Yeah. I think that's really important. I want to put a pin in that and talk about that a little bit further down the line here, but I want to go back to your education. In high school, what was your exposure to filmmaking and video production and editing there? And then what was your major in college?
Yeah, so in high school, I went to Franklin High School in Elk Grove.
Uh huh.
I was a part of their STEM academy. I think it might have changed a little bit since
Yeah.
it's been I didn't go, but we just had our 10-year
Oh,
reunion.
wow. Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
milestone. You're going, oh my gosh, now time's really going forward here.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the best feeling, but it's fine. I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I was a part of the STEM Academy, and I think it has changed. So, edit, correct this as it is. But back
Yeah.
then, M stood for media in
Uh
STEM.
huh. Okay.
So I was a media specialist through the STEM Academy. And a big part of that was because of Miss Williams, because I was heavily involved in yearbook. In middle school, I was in yearbook.
Oh, okay.
So when I went to high school, I wanted to be a part of yearbook. And Miss Williams was both the yearbook advisor and also um, morning bulletin. So she kind of encouraged me to do STEM, and I just wanted to spend more time with like my favorite teacher. So I was like, sure, I'll do STEM.
Yeah.
And between like the three courses you could take, which was computer science, which ironically would become my major, engineering and media, I was just so much more interested in media. I remember my first video production class. We were editing an iMovie, and I believe now they are doing Premiere Pro, which is so much better.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
when I was first working in iMovie, it felt so second nature. Like it was crazy. Like it was like that feeling where like I really like this and everything came so easily to me. And I loved watching everything get cut together to get like these dailies in and turn it into a story. I loved it. And I just wanted to do it. And I remember we would go out and we would do these like small little productions. And I would do them because you had to, but I wasn't like interested in it. I just wanted to stay in the edit bay and just work. And I would tell like my classmates, like, you can go film everything and I'll edit everything. And they were fine with that because they just wanted to be,
Right.
in front of the
Right.
camera or whatever. And I was like, I just want to sit in the edit bay. And that's really where I realized that I really wanted to edit all the time. And eventually I would do morning bulletin also. And same, I just wanted to be in the control room. I would have to go anchor because, Miss Lewis was like,
Yeah.
you're gonna pass, you have to do all the positions.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to be in the control room. And I loved cutting and I loved editing and I loved seeing everything get pieced together to add the sound effects, to create the atmosphere in the world. Um, so that's all I wanted to do. And I remember like really, really wanting to do film
Yeah.
all throughout high school. But when I went to college, my parents didn't like that. They were like, no,
Okay.
you don't get to be in film. You don't get to major in that.
Yeah.
Um, And it was really dumb. I just Googled what is other majors that can help you get into film or that like skills that are
Yeah.
transferable. And at the top of the list was computer science.
Okay.
And I had gotten in, I just knew I wanted to go to a UC. I probably wouldn't tell my kids the same thing today, but like I just wanted the prestige of a UC campus.
Sure.
And of all the UCs that I got into, UC Irvine was the one that piqued my interest the most.
Okay.
And they had a really good computer science program. So it just kind of felt perfect that I was able to use this as an excuse to be able to go to the college that I wanted to. Um, and hopefully, in my mind, let me just get through college, and then hopefully the skills would be transferable enough to get into film.
Yeah.
And tricked my parents enough that they were like, "Okay, yeah, cool, you're a computer science major." And
now,
I was like,
now we're
"Yeah."
happy. Yeah. So then your parents were happy. Computer science. You're all good. So while you were in UC Irvine, though, did you have an opportunity to still at least get your finger in editing or film in any way?
It was all I did. I honestly
Okay.
don't remember much of
Yeah.
computer science.
Yeah.
Like, I have no clue. I was even on like Dean's honor list. I don't know what I did. I can't tell you anything about classes.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I did everything I could. I think it was very ironic that when I moved into my dorms, one of the guys that I became friends with the most was a film major. He went to Hollywood high school and everything, so he got like he knew so much. He had all these
Yeah.
camera rigs. Um, so I just became friends with him and I followed him around and I would join all of their film groups because whenever the film students had a project, they had to put together a crew if they're going to do it.
Sure.
So I just joined everyone's crew as I would be a DIT, which is a digital imaging technician.
Okay.
That's like on set post-production. I would be running Video Village. I would do a lot of assistant editing. In case people don't know the difference between editing and assistant editing, editors really just cut. They really
Yeah.
just put the story together. Assistant editors are the ones who do all the back end work of organizing the footage, making sure that when the editor comes in, they just have to cut. So I did a lot of that. I did a lot of syncing audio and video, a lot of color correcting, just a lot of like organizing
Yeah.
slates. I did that for everyone. I worked two jobs on campus. One of them was for our school's videography and photography services. So I would film all of the like lectures, all of the special events that would happen on campus, and then I would edit them. And then my other job was the equipment checkout bay. So I was
Okay.
the technician who would check out the equipment to the film students. So I got as close to the film like school as I could
Yeah.
without being a film student. And then I think we'll talk about later, but eventually I would, I do a lot of things within the Filipino community. In my Filipino org, I was like the videographer, the editor. I would do all of that stuff for our org. I would edit random videos for like the Homecoming King and Queen like campaigns.
Uh-huh.
I did a few like being in Orange County, a few offshoot weddings for some like random people who had like were trying to really like save money, so they would hire college students.
Yeah.
I was in there. I was really, really hungry. And I just like that's what I was doing all the time was just if I wasn't in a comp sci class or if I wasn't with like my friends and
Yeah.
dancing, I was at a film shoot.
That's incredible. So if you look back then, Rhian, was there a particular moment that said, this is, I love film? I mean, were you like a little kid or were you in middle school? Was it later
I
in high school?
was It was Avengers. I was in middle school.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
fully Avengers. I was
Yeah.
in seventh grade. My best friend wanted to go watch it, and I was like, okay, sure, we'll go see Avengers. And I just remember being so in awe by the effects. Like it was the
Yeah.
VFX that
Yeah.
got me. And I mean, I could be wrong here, but I think this came around the same time as X-Men scene with
Yep.
Quicksilver.
Yep.
Those two scenes, like the first time you see the Avengers circle around and then the Quicksilver scene, like it hooked me. And I remember I would rewatch, it's like a 7 minute video on YouTube, the making of the Quicksilver scene.
Uh-huh.
I rewatched that so many times. I like just watched it last week. It it captivates me so, so much. And I'm not a VFX artist, I'm not a VFX
Yeah.
technician.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love that stuff so much.
Yeah.
And it's as annoying as it is to the editors and assistant editors that I have to like shadow. I really love the visual effects stuff. And I am trying to get a better taste for like, classic cinema and everything.
Yeah.
But I love visual effects so much. So it was fully, I literally remember where I was like sitting in that theater watching Avengers and being like, this is it. Like, this is
Yeah.
all I want to do.
I could see that. Do you want to be a visual effects editor at some point?
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
want to be a visual effects editor. There's a difference between a visual effects editor and a visual effects artist. The artists
Okay.
are the
Yeah.
ones who create the visual effects.
Yeah.
The editors are the ones who cut them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes more sense when you're in the department. I don't think I could ever be a visual effects artist. I have so much respect for them, and I can do like 2D animations and like 2D effects, like simple paint outs, but building worlds, I will just stand back and
It's
applaud.
pretty
But
incredible. Yeah.
it is, and I literally next door to me is the visual effects artist, so I love to just watch him build things. But visual effects editor, I would love to. I was a visual effects coordinator. That was one of my first jobs here in the industry, on the Flash. So I got a pretty good taste of what it looks like to be a visual effects editor.
Yeah.
With my career, I always kind of say I don't think that there's like an end goal for me. I think that there's more like checklists of things that I want to
Okay.
do. Like I want to edit a rom-com. I want to work on a feature. Visual effects editor is 100% on my checklist that I want to at least do that once one day.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were talking about editing, I've done a little bit of that, certainly not to the level you are, Rian. But the thing that I think is that's where the magic happens, right? I mean, that's really it. When you're pulling all these different pieces together, and then you're the one that's finally pulling the story together. I mean, all the other stuff, you got all these disparate pieces. Like you said, you've got the film, you got the audio, you got the sound effects, you got all the other things that you have to pull together to finally make that story happen.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really the first thing I thought about is the I'll fix it in post though, I'll admit, which is like the
Yep.
bane of our
Oh
existence.
yeah. Yeah. Fix it in
Um,
post. Yeah.
yeah, it is, it's both nerve-wracking and magical. I think it is, I will admit, it is very nerve-wracking, I think, the entire way for me, at least until you get to the final cut, because it is that feeling of like, this is it. Like, there is no fail-safe after post.
Yeah.
If anything, it should have happened in the scripting, it should have happened on set. What we have here is what we have, unless we're willing to put out more money, which usually we're not. It is very nerve-wracking when it's like, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
we are the ones who need to essentially fix everything, after everything is said and done. But when it is locked and like when the pieces all fit together, it really is the most satisfying
Yeah.
thing because it's like you just see everything come together and it's always so fun. We did a trailer, a very, very simple crew trailer a few months ago for our actors, and them being able to see themselves like it it's so it's so cool. Like, because they're actors and they're like, oh, like, we're going through the motion of it, but to finally see like what it looks like, they're like, I didn't know I looked that cool. And it's like, yeah, you did. You really did. Like they do their job well, so we can do our job well. It is a really cool thing to see things come together and I think it's like a big thing about editing is beats and flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something can be the correct order of cuts, but the flow isn't right. And it's like that moment when you're just like shifting everything by one frame all the way down. You're just like one, two, three. And it's like so frustrating because you're like, it's right there. But once you get it, you're like, there it is. Like there's the
Yeah.
flow. And it's perfect. And it's so fun. It's just like you can just like take the biggest like deep breath and just be like, okay, we did it.
What do you think it takes to be an editor? Is there a mindset? Is there a skill set? Is there a personality type? What do you think that takes?
I'm still figuring that out,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
to be honest. I mean, I'll talk about the editor that I work under.
yeah,
His name is Vix Patel. He is, I can't even fathom. He's like, I've worked with a lot of amazing editors. He's an amazing editor and he's a fast editor. That's crazy. I think that a lot of post-production is like you want to go slow, just because you want to do it right.
right.
But he does it right and fast. So I would say he's nothing to attain to because that's crazy, but it is something to really, really admire. And he just has this eye that I really can't explain, and that's what I'm still trying to figure out. So like to answer your question, like
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out just by watching him. Like he just I really do think it is just working as much as you can
yeah.
and or not working as much as you can, but you know, we look at editing like a toolbox, and you
Mm-hmm.
just want to keep adding more and more tools to your box. And
Sure.
he's just, part of it is that he's been in the game for so long.
Yeah.
He's been editing for so many years. He was the editor on Ozark.
Oh,
He
wow.
just edited Black Rabbit that came out on
Yeah,
Netflix earlier this month. So
yeah,
he's a fantastic editor. He's done feature films. He's done now he's in television, but he's done most of his life in feature films. And he just has an eye that I really, really can't explain. Like I'll be sitting with one of the other editors looking at a shot for so long, not sure why it's not working. He walks in just like eating chips, like walking past, and he sees it. And he's like, Did you try this? And it's the answer. And it's insane. Like I really think like it's that eye for creativity, the understanding of storytelling. There's such a difference between an assist and an editor because an assist is really technical. I have to know how
sure.
to fix the Avid. If the Avid crashes, it's up
Yeah,
to me. Like I have to understand why is the media offline, and I'm very confident in that. Again, technical skills you can always learn. This
yeah,
creative stuff, it's you really just have to sit and listen to the conversations that are happening. And he has so many conversations with our showrunner, which
yeah,
I think is what helps him a lot. He has wonderful, wonderful relationships with all the writers that he works with. So he has such a deep understanding of the story that we're trying to tell. He thinks long and hard about character's purpose and character's like intention. Like I will cut a scene exactly like the script and he'll challenge it and he'll be like, okay, but why did the writers do that? And I won't have an answer. And he's like, you have to think about that.
yeah,
Why,
yeah,
either talk to the writer or question the writer and say, like, so why is he doing this? Because yes, you wrote it here, but now that I have to translate it to, to to edit, why
right.
is it that way? And it's just this, you have to think like three steps ahead of the storytelling. And I just think that that's like really fantastic. And like the thing that I'm currently like tasked with right now is a lot of sound design. And it's a lot of world building. And the things
Yeah,
that he challenges me with is like, we're not working on a show that's like Friends. Like Friends is like clear cut in reality. So whatever you see on screen, a cup being put up and down, sound effect, easy.
yeah,
We're in superheroes. And
yeah,
so there is sound effects of like a thing that is not real. And it's like, well, and he has to challenge me and be like, what do you think it should sound like? And, if we go into this other world where it's like, I'm building things grounded in reality, he has to remind me it's not reality though. Get crazy. He's
yeah,
like, go nuts,
yeah,
do something, make it dreamy, make it fake. And it's like, it's these things that I really don't, I'm not there yet. Like, I'm
yeah,
still learning. It is an apprenticeship. So, really just like thinking about storytelling, like, editors are so they're just as involved in all of this. Like we're not the ones who create the ideas, but we are the ones who finish it.
right.
So it's
Yeah, you're
when
helping
I
bring it.
guess
Yeah,
when
you're helping bring
yeah.
it to life. Yeah.
Yeah, when I find an answer, I'll tell you. I'm still learning.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point that I think a lot of folks think that what happens behind the scenes is far more technical. There's not as much creativity. You're just handed something and you put it together. But everything you're talking about, Rhian, kind of dispels that because you obviously have to have a creative eye. You have to have some kind of creative sense. Otherwise, you are just cutting things together and then handing off and go, okay, here you go. And that's probably not going to be a very good end result.
No, it's a balance. It's definitely a
Yeah.
delicate balance because, I say all of this, we are still not the editors, or
Right.
sorry,
Right.
we're still not the writers,
Yeah.
we're still not the
Okay.
directors. So it's a delicate balance of knowing what we need to contribute as editors when we need to speak up when we see something that as,
Yeah.
you know, editorial where we can speak up. Like that's why we're here, right? That's why we're editors and that's why we're the editorial department. We need to tell them things that they wouldn't catch, but at the same time, having respect for the story that was written,
Yeah.
um, so it's a delicate balance of
Yeah.
knowing not I don't want to say your place, but the respect for some people this is their passion project. For some people
Right.
this is their baby. So you don't want to step on toes and you also want to know when to speak up. And a lot of that comes from honestly having a really good crew.
Yeah.
I think I've been really fortunate to not really have yeah, I everyone tells me this is one in a million, and maybe it's because my career's still so young. I haven't dealt with any like really mean people yet,
Oh, you're very
which is
lucky.
I've been told
Yeah.
this is I think my fourth or fifth TV show,
Uh huh.
and I just everyone's been really lovely. But I will say like the show that I'm on now, I do see a difference between this show and other shows I've worked on, to
Sure.
where it's just like there is a level of respect for people's, ability. Um, and because of that, I think more people are able to speak up.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
just creates a better product. You are going to deal with productions, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're going to deal with productions where you can't.
Right.
And at some point, it gets to a point where it's like at the end of the day, a job is a job. If you got
Yeah.
hired, just get through it.
Yeah.
Just get through it. If they just want you to be a button pusher, oh well, the power that you
Right.
have is to not work for them again, but don't burn bridges. So
Sure.
get through it and then make your choices afterwards if you would return or not. But when you find the right team that can let you talk, and want to hear your input, it really does make for a better product. And I think that
Yeah.
people know that and audience members know that. So we'll see if things change, but I'm not going to sugarcoat and say that every production is like this. I
Well,
think I've just
sure.
been
I
really
mean,
lucky
so
so far.
within a television series, the person who's setting the tone for that's the showrunner, right? Whereas on a
Yeah.
film set, it's the director.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got different personalities, and that showrunner could change at some point in the series. Maybe by season 3, somebody else gets brought in because that maybe that person moved on to another show, or they created something else and they're running that new one.
Oh
So
yeah, I've definitely experienced that before.
okay, I want to go back then to what you're talking about community, Rhian, because I know you had mentioned that was very important to you. So talk a little bit about what your the Filipino community in particular, and then how that's important to you, and how you felt supported from that community.
Yeah, so I've been specifically in the cultural arts section of
Okay.
the Filipino community
Yeah.
pretty heavily since I was 14. At Franklin High School, we had this club called the Tinikling Dance Club.
Uh huh.
And I joined them like immediately when I was a freshman just because I was so in awe by it. And I just haven't stopped dancing since. So I do Filipino folk art dancing
Oh, okay.
professionally now. Yeah, I went and I continued to do that at UC Irvine with the Filipino org there, Kababayan at UCI. And now I'm with Kaimanang Lahi, which is a Filipino theater here in Los Angeles. We actually have our really big 35th anniversary concert coming up in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. That sounds good.
Yeah, that's mostly what my whole year has been is just been practicing for this. So
Yeah.
I am heavily involved in the community because I love the dance so much. It's truly my passion. Like I love film. Film is my career, and I feel so immensely lucky to say that it is my career. But dance has always been, cultural dance has always been my passion.
Yeah.
So it's like where all my heart and my soul is. Like I could do this film stuff all the time, but if I'm not able to go and dance on the weekend, then I'm just a robot, you know? So like, you need the
Yeah.
things to feed your heart, your soul, and my culture feeds my soul very, very like all the time. I love it so much. And not to get too into it because I could talk about cultural dance forever.
Yeah.
But in the space of, Los Angeles, it just always so happens that, this is where film is made. This is
Yep.
where the film industry hopefully, quote unquote lives. Things are going around, but Hollywood is what people think about. And being in a performing arts section, it wasn't really that surprising that there would
Right.
be people there that knew people in film.
Yeah.
So, when I had graduated college, every aspect of my dance was always tied to academics because it was a high school club and then it was a
Okay.
college organization. So I did go like maybe 2 months without dancing and I felt it immediately. I was like, this is weird. Like I don't feel like myself. I'm not as happy as I used to be. And I found Kaimananglahi pretty quickly. Um, and around this time, this was COVID. So this was
Oh yeah,
2020.
that was hard.
It was hard, and
Yeah.
I had a job straight out of college working in computer science. It was a website, UX UI, app UX UI, and also social media. It was like one of those like all in all tech where you're underpaid, but you're expected to do all of
Yeah.
this stuff. And I just remember just not feeling like fed, essentially. I was just like, I felt like such a robot. I didn't know what to do. My first step was finding my dance org, my dance family that I've been with for 6 years now. Um, and talking to them and kind of venting to them a little bit of how I was feeling lost. Like I wanted to do film so badly, but like a lot of people who go into film, they end up in marketing. And I was
Yep.
doing marketing and I just was, it was enough to get the bills paid but I didn't like it. And then it really took someone to give me the option to do a social media campaign and a short film. And when I
Okay.
was given those two options and I did both of them, I was like, that short film just felt so much better. And they're like, you need to go to film. You need to
Yeah.
go to the film industry. You can't stay in social media because these film people, they don't look at social media the same. Like it's not the
Not at
same.
all.
No, and they said, you need to go all in if you're going to do this. And they connected me with um, who would become my mentor to this day, AJ Calumet. He is an assistant editor. He was assistant editor on iRobot,
Oh yeah.
on You season 4. He did Kung Fu. So he is my mentor, and I owe a lot to him. He was the one that was I was connected to, and he happened to be working on an indie feature, and he needed some visual effects done. He apparently had contacted some people from my college to ask if I was legit. I didn't know that. He told me that years after. And
Right.
they're like, no, she's legit. She's trying to get in the industry. So he gave me 3 shots, visual effects, really easy paint outs to do. I did them for him for free.
Yeah.
He's trying to figure out if I was worth it. He was very impressed and he was like, okay, I'm starting a network of the people that I have basically built, like the community that he's built for the past 20 years. And he wanted me to join him on it. And I was probably at the time I was 22. So I was 22, 23. I was the youngest person in the community. It was like a Facebook group of all these Filipinos in post-production. There was like 40 of us. Most of them were in their 40s, 50s. They'd been in the game for years. They had crazy good, like, um, just like their IMDb's were stacked. And then there was me, and he really took a chance on me. And I didn't take that lightly. And
Yeah.
I made friends with everyone around me. I talked to them. I worked on all their short films, no pay. I went to every single mixer. And just by chance, one of the Filipinos who was there was an assistant editor on Flash. His name is Alfred Espino.
Uh huh.
And he gave me like a 5 minute interview. Like it wasn't even
Oh,
for the
that's
job.
incredible. Yeah.
It was to give me the chance to use his connection to apply
Yeah.
for the job because he wasn't going to just stick his neck out for someone. So he was like,
Yeah.
elevator pitch now. Why should I stick my name on the line for you? Gave it to him and he said, "All right, here's the email address of my post producer. Do not tell anyone. Do not tell him I gave it to you. Go apply."
Right.
And it worked. And that's how I got my first like real job in the industry as post PA on the Flash. So, you know, the Filipinos really support each other.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, it's like this weird connection of like I could name like so many people who I owe everything to, and it's because like this person connected me to this person that connected me to this person. And, now our Facebook group is, well, one, moving off of Facebook,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it is like a huge group of people. And, they kind of look to me as one of the more like seasoned people in the groups now, which is crazy because, I'm 28 now, and there are people in the group who are 17, 18, 19. Like
Sure.
there's new young blood in the group. And AJ, he kind of directs them to me now. He's like, go talk to her because she's the proof that this group works. Look at her
Yeah.
now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. It's really weird to be looked at as like people that I don't know who joined the group. They're like, I heard you're the one who proves that this works. And I was like,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, I think you're pointing out a couple things here, Rhian, is one, the importance of community, and particularly in the film industry, like you said earlier, it's a highly competitive field and you've got to make connections. And so the second part of that is you can't do that by not putting yourself out there. And it sounds like you've done both. You've been able to build community and get yourself there. But part of that is because you're willing, I think, to put yourself out there to do that.
Yeah, and it is a scary thing. Like I think I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna sound really wrong to say. I benefited from it being during COVID because I didn't
Okay.
have to, like I'm an ambivert, so I switch between extrovert and introvert, but like
Yeah.
it is scary to put yourself out there. But my first few mixers were all on Zoom. So
Oh
it
boy.
wasn't as, yeah, but it wasn't as scary as it had to
Right.
be
Right.
because I could do it on Zoom so that when I did eventually go to in-person mixers, these people already knew my name, already had seen them like in their tiny little square.
Yeah.
Um, so it is like it's scary, I will
Yeah.
admit. And whenever anyone who is not extroverted finds out that they have to do this, like I completely understand. It is very, very scary to put yourself out there and the thing is like it's the same song and dance. You go to these mixers and there's going to be some kid that's like, I want to be in this. I want to be a part of this. Like, how do I be a part of this?
Yeah.
And you are kind of one and like you're just another new person. And like, how do you make yourself stick out, right? Like, I think that's like
Right.
the question. And like, the thing is, there's a point where I hope this gives some comfort, but like, we know people are coming here because they're trying to do it because we were there and it's like yeah we're going to hear the same elevator pitch we've heard all night but at the same time it's like well we're not going to not talk to you because of that because we get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to get over that hump of like what can I do, you are the same person as everyone else, like
Yeah.
everyone's trying to get in the industry. Get over it. Get
Right.
over it. Get over yourself. We know, and that's okay. Just do it, and the right person will listen to you.
Yeah.
And don't get discouraged by all the like doors in your faces because that's just what it is. Like if I can give any silly little advice that I was given that kind of helped, honestly, um, I would always come in an interesting shirt of a show that I really liked, so that
Okay. That's
I
a
would
great idea.
it brought me a lot of comfort, honestly. And
Sure.
at the end of the day, the film industry, we're all nerds. Why are we here? We're
Yeah.
watching films and
Right.
we're watching television shows. And I specifically really, really love superhero shows. And I love animation. I love animation and I love superhero stuff. Those have always been my favorite. So I have those t-shirts all the time. I would come in a Star Wars t-shirt to every single mixer that I went to. and someone would ask me about it. And I would get to talk about something that I loved.
Yeah.
And it took away all of my nerves. So it's a silly little trick, but it's what I would do. And sometimes people wouldn't ask me about my shirt. It's fine. That's fine. But sometimes someone would. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to worry about like doing shop talk. I could
Yeah.
talk about Star Wars, which I could talk about for ages. So just bring something, like, I don't know, wear a hat, wear a t-shirt, bring a keychain. If no one asks you about it, that's fine. But at least if someone does, you can talk about something that you are comfortable talking about. And
Right.
it also makes you memorable because the other thing is you want to be able to stick out. You want to be able to be like a memorable like thing that like when they go home and they've met 50 other people, they're going to remember that one person. And one of the other things that I would
Yeah.
do is I would talk to the spouses and the partners of the other people because they're just as interesting too. But I
Yeah.
found that one time I got a job because this guy was like, I honestly don't remember talking to you, but my wife did because you're one of the only people there that talked to her.
Oh,
So,
that's a really great idea. I love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, it all comes down to, again, being nice, being pleasant, be genuine, you know, just be a nice person and people will give you a shot. Like really, this it's literally what I tell anyone that I mentor. Like be
Yeah.
present because we are working 10 to 14-hour days. Like
Yep.
I work 10 hours a day here at minimum. Um, it's long hours. The least you can do is be around people that are pleasant. Even my post producer, when she went into hiring me, she was like, she was looking for someone that she could stand for 10 hours a day because that's really where it, like,
That's a pretty good filter because I think a lot of people would just hire somebody to do the job. But to your point, you've got to spend a lot of time in close proximity with these folks under a lot of strenuous deadlines. So it's not easy work either.
exactly. So again, skills can be taught. I mean,
Yeah.
to a point, I do think
Yeah.
that, some people can't be taught, but most people, I would say, should be able to be taught, especially if you're trying to get in this industry. Like,
Yeah.
it is such a privilege to be in this industry, to say that you can work on TV and film, that I think everyone should be hungry enough to learn,
Yeah.
and that learning should be the easy part. So,
So I know we've got just a few more minutes. I want to just
yeah.
ask you about what TV series and or films do you think have or are getting it right when it comes to the AAPI community representation?
Oh my God. I can probably go till 9:10, by the way. I
Okay.
haven't seen my boss walk through yet.
Okay. Okay.
Um, let's see. Oh my God, what have I been watching? I'm like drawing a blank. Well, this one's not as new, obviously, and it's probably not like a surprising answer, but Everything Everywhere All at Once
Yeah.
is one of my favorite films, and it
Yeah.
was so, so beautifully done. That one was great. That was fantastic. I love anything A24 does. Um, another
Yeah.
um another Asian film that they did that actually came out around the same time as Everything Ever All at Once that I think kind of got overshadowed a little bit is this film called After Yang.
Oh, I'm not familiar with
Love
that.
love
Yeah.
that film. It talks about like technology and technology in like the world. And I believe it was actually on Obama's list of films for that year.
Okay.
But I haven't heard anyone talk about it. But After Yang is beautiful. Um, TV shows, oh my gosh, I've been watching too much. I've been working so much. So I'm like trying of like
I'm
I'm like,
sure.
what have I been watching outside of my
Well,
own
it kind of
show?
feels like Michelle Yao is in everything right now. I mean, we just started watching a series my wife and I called The Brother's Son, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she plays the mom in that. I'm going, oh my gosh, she's like the Liam Neeson of Asian female actors right now because he's showing up in everything.
I know. I mean, she might as well. I mean, she's going to be in Wicked 2 also, which is
Yeah,
coming up pretty
yeah, that's what I
soon.
heard. Yeah,
I'm personally a big fan of John M. Chu. I know he people have their reservations about him. I'm just also a really big musical person, which is
Okay.
why I
Yeah.
like I loved In the Heights. That's not Asian representation, but I really loved In the Heights. I thought that
Yeah.
his vision for like transforming a stage production into film and still keeping the same kind of like feeling that you get from a musical is insane.
Yeah.
So I'm fighting like everyone in my office because they don't like musicals, but like I loved Wicked. I loved In the Heights. And I know Wicked 2 is coming out and I'm super excited for that. Other Asian representation. Well, this is a really small thing because the show is not about Asian
Yeah.
representation, but one
Yeah.
that was really fun was The Pit that just came out.
Oh
Or
yeah.
not just came out, but it just won
Yeah.
all the
I haven't
Emmys.
seen it yet. Yeah.
That our friends are working on it just like I say just there, it's like all the way across the lot. But
Yeah.
they have it's an ER drama,
Yep.
and the nurses that are in it are Filipino, and they speak
Okay.
Tagalog, and that was really, really nice to watch because there's so many hospital dramas, and Filipinos really are like so much of like the nurse, like the American nurses. They're almost,
Yeah.
I think we are like 40% of the nurse
Oh, it's that
population.
high.
It's
That's incredible.
high, and like
Wow.
most of the I forgot the correct term for it, but kind of like the immigration that happens for like workers
Yeah.
overseas,
Yeah.
we hire a lot of that's the easiest way for Filipinos to come to America is because we hire a lot of nurses overseas from the Philippines.
Okay. Yeah.
So we take up 40% of the nurse population, I believe. There's a documentary, my friends just put out a documentary called Nurse Unseen regarding this. And it made the short list for the Oscars 2 years ago. But
Huh.
we make up 40% of the population, but I believe we made up 80% of the nurse deaths during COVID. And
Really?
that was just a really like it was so sad to know that
Yeah.
like and with all the not documentaries but all the like hospital dramas we're just not in there but we're literally
No.
everywhere
Yeah.
and The Pit I don't want to say it's the first because I haven't seen every single hospital drama
Right.
but it is an Emmy award winning, it's swept the Emmys, so it's high up there, high visibility, and in the show is Filipino nurses speaking Tagalog. And it was just like really fun to see that. Like my mom
Yeah.
is a nurse and she was so excited. She's
I
like, "Oh,
bet.
it's me, it's me." Like that little
Right.
thing matters. Like it's not even the lead actor, obviously. They're just like these two little Filipino women that come in like every so often. But every time they came up, my mom was like, "It's me." And it's
Yeah.
like that's what it's about, like the representation and the proper representation that like with how much of our population died, you know, the least that we can do is be remembered and not
Yeah.
erased and forgotten, and that's really important.
Yep. Do you remember the first film or TV series you ever saw where somebody of color was in it, or somebody that was Filipino, and you go, "Oh my gosh, that looks like me."
Philippine, the answer really quickly is Mulan,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
which is not even
Yeah.
accurate because
Right.
she's Chinese.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true. That's true.
Filipino, Mulan did a lot for me though. I that one really did a number on me, and she's still my favorite Disney princess to this
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Filipino. No, if
Yeah.
I'm being quite honest.
Yeah.
After college, I worked part-time for a marketing agency for API representation in film called Tremendous Communications. Loved that job, and that job really, Tremendous Communications in general, they just really amplify and champion Asian voices, both in front and behind the scenes of all things
Yeah.
entertainment. And that was probably the first time because if I'm being quite honest, a lot of those films are still, other than Everything Ever All at
Yeah.
Once,
Yeah.
they're still pretty like not well known. So if I didn't have that job, I don't honestly know if I would have known about these Filipino
Sure.
jobs that are happening. what I always one of my favorite films that we worked on that I think everyone should watch is Yellow Rose. Yellow Rose came out
Okay.
in 2020, and I think that because it came out at peak COVID, it did not get the flowers it deserved.
Yeah.
It stars Ava Noblezada, who's one of my favorite Broadway artists, and Lea Salonga, and it is about um, an immigration of not immigration, but it's of essentially like undocumented Filipinos in, I think, Texas. And she
Okay.
wants, and so it's a really beautiful, beautiful film. It's on Amazon Prime. I think that film might have been the first time where I was like, it's a Filipino American backed film that felt like it was respected when it was made.
Yeah.
Like the thought that went into putting that film together was not just a joke.
Yeah.
And we were taken seriously. Our story was taken seriously, and the writers and the directors and all the creatives who put that film together were taken seriously. I think it's the first Filipino film distributed by an American studio because it was
Oh, okay.
distributed by Sony.
Yeah.
It is an indie film because Easter Sunday is the first film that was produced and distributed by a studio. But Yellow Rose is the first film fully distributed by, and
Yeah.
it was just completely forgotten. But I love that film, and I
I'll
think
have to
it's
look
a
for
really
it. That
beautiful
sounds
story.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, last question here, and I know you touched on this quite a bit, but are there any other pieces of advice you'd give to especially young Filipino women that want to enter this business?
Mm. Um, this is a really hard industry. Like
Yeah.
I think everyone's heard that before, especially currently. It is hard. Post writers and actors strike, I don't think we have fully recovered, and I think it's starting to feel like there is no recovery. I think that this
Oh,
is
interesting.
what the industry is from here on out until the studios decide what they want to do with AI, decide
Yeah.
what they want to do with taxes, and filming here in LA versus elsewhere. It's hard. So, I don't want to discourage anyone. I would just say, like, know that us people, I'm not even that like seasoned. I'm still
Yeah.
green, to be quite
Yeah.
honest. No one knows where we're going. We are doing our best to navigate what is going on right now. But if you want this, and if you really, really want this, um, stay hungry. Like you
Yeah.
need to stay hungry. Um, Talk to people, communicate, network with everyone. Keep working on your craft. Never stop building off of your skills. Go and shoot a little short film. Go do some writing exercises. You can download, like for editorial specifically, you can download like little projects online where they'll give you everything. They'll give you the dailies, they'll give you some sound libraries, and just practice. Like you
Yeah.
need to keep practicing. Especially if you want, I would say this is something that I kind of learned more so entering the industry. Everyone edits in Avid. Some people edit in Premiere still, but really start learning Avid. That is going to get you so much further because most colleges and high schools are still teaching Premiere.
Yeah.
Um, Learn Avid, and if you can learn both, even better because now
Even
you're
better. True.
cross-platform. Get
Yeah.
get those skills in now. Um, but in terms of like being like a Filipino woman in this industry, find us because we
Mm.
want you here. I promise you, we want you here. I'll be quite honest, I don't think I've actually felt like the competitive spirit that people talk about. That might be in other departments,
Sure.
but in editorial, everyone like they're just like, no, I want more of us here. So they will champion you. So come and find us and we will
Yeah.
champion you. And don't give up. even if you're the smallest person in the room, and I am usually always the smallest person in the room.
Uh-huh.
You have a place, and I do think that this is something that I still have to remind myself all the time. I tend to talk myself down a lot, in interviews when I'm talking to other producers, and I've been very lucky to be surrounded by people who want me to succeed. And they have always been very, very quick to check me on that. And they're just like, don't ever say that again. And they're like, you're really lucky you're talking to me because I will tell you, don't ever say that in front of a white man. They'll be like, because
Yeah.
they'll take you seriously if you say that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think that there's so much I could say, but the one thing that I think that I've been like kind of telling myself more recently is like this world and this industry was built for white men,
Yeah.
but I'm still here. And there's other ones who couldn't even make it in a system that was built for them.
Yeah.
And I think that should tell you everything about whether or not you can make it. So, like, can a Filipino woman make it in this industry? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just a matter now of what are you going to do about it, you know? So, personally, work on your skill, keep doing it so that because the hard part really is getting in.
Yeah.
Once you're in, make sure that you have the skills to back it. Like, you should always be ready to start your job tomorrow. Um, and then network your way so that tomorrow is the day that you're offered that job.
Right. Right. Those are really good piece of advice, Rhian. You and I could keep talking, I think, for another 10, 15 minutes or more. So I know we're running out of time here, but thank you so much for being part of this. I think you relayed some really great information to folks and gave us a good insight on to both your role and how you got to where you're at. Thank you.
Yeah, of
This has
course.
been
Thank you
great.
so much for having me. I say that I can trace back all the way, like all these people that like stepping stone me into
Yeah.
the place that I'm in. And it really does start all the way back in Sacramento,
No, that's great.
in the little
Yeah.
video productions room where I was doing silly little Star Wars. Like I still remember my first project ever was um the little lightsaber project
Oh,
in Video
fun.
Productions One. But like it is very surreal. Like I'm on the Warner Brothers lot right now. Like to be able to say that like Avengers was the thing that made me want to get in this industry,
Right.
and now I'm working
Yeah.
in Green Lantern. Like I don't take it lightly that I this is a privileged and like it is a privilege to be able to work in this industry, and it is surreal to be able to say that I did it.
Yeah.
Um and it started in that classroom.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it sounds like you've got a long, great future ahead of you.
no, thank you.
Yeah,
I
I
really
think so.
appreciate that.
Yep, you bet. Well, thank you. All right, that's it for this episode of Lights, Camera, Learn. You can follow us on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, and also catch us on our website at secctv.org or support us on Patreon by just clicking on Lights, Camera, Learn. Until the next episode, make it a great day. Thank you.